So as we're sort of wrapping up our final thoughts on Bert's Big Adventure, people are driving me crazy, man. Can I just point out two different things on Bert's Big Adventure that just have driven me crazy? And I didn't even know if I was going to talk about it. Abby, I'm going to direct this one to you. The POS comment you heard while we were in the park.
Yeah, that was pretty shocking. So this was the first day that we were on the trip, or the first full day that we were in Disney. So it's Friday. I'm paired with a really sweet family, and we're bopping around Magic Kingdom. And the kid in this family, her name is Rainey, and she really loves Stitch. And so it was kind of this perfect moment where we're in Tomorrowland, and we stumble across a character meet and greet for Stitch. I'm like, oh, this is just so perfect. And the best part about Bert's Big Adventure is that it's a true VIP experience. So we get to skip all the lines, and the character meet and greet ones are the ones that we get to go straight to the front because there's no fast pass lane.
Yeah, so just so you know, these passes are given out to sick kids because we're not exactly sure if they'll be able to go again to Disney. Do you guys know what I'm saying? So they hang these passes around the parent's neck and let you know exactly how many people are in their party so they can all skip the lines because these guys are fighting time.
Yeah, so this is called a wish pass. A family gets it once in a lifetime. Like Disney has a database of everybody who's had a wish pass. You get it one time so you can have this VIP experience. And they have made this... They've switched up the program over the years, and one year we almost didn't get wish passes because so many people were taking advantage of the system and faking children with illnesses to acquire these passes. So
let that wash over you what she's saying right now. It's so hard to get. We didn't even get those from Disney. I think we get them through an organization that helps us get them through Disney.
Yeah, Give Kids the World or something, Disney's nonprofit.
Because there were parents, like Kristen was saying, we're going online and selling these passes.
Selling them
for thousands and thousands of dollars. What are you doing?
It was crazy. So I remember there was one year, and we weren't going to have these passes, and they really do make they're necessary, especially for the kids that we have who are still have their ports in and are doing chemotherapy. Some have heart conditions and they can't walk long distances. And so, we have wheelchairs and strollers and double strollers and all this stuff. And you can look at a kid and think this kid is completely healthy, but little do you know, they just did 663 chemotherapy treatments.
Yeah. And I mean, worst case scenario, of course, and we get doctor's approval that they can go on the trip, but anything can happen at any moment. So we don't know if something's going to happen when they get off the ride or that night in the hotel. So this might be their last ride. All right.
So we're at the character meet and greet in Tomorrowland, and I look at the family. I was like, don't worry, I got this. Let me grab the wish pass so I can get us to the front of the line. I talked to the character's handler, and they're like, no problem, come straight to the front. So Rainey, being a big Stitch fan, gets to meet Stitch, and it's this really sweet moment. And as this is all going down, I start to see this other family that's not associated with Bert's Big Adventure, just, regular park guests. They start to move their way to the front of the line, and they're watching what's going down. They're watching Rainey skip the line and take a photo with Stitch. And the dad in this family starts talking to Stitch as if Stitch is like a real person. And the dad is like, Stitch, you want to meet my daughter? Stitch, you want to meet my daughter? And so as Rainey's finishing up, the dad is kind of pushing his daughter to the front of the line. And the handler, rightfully so, is like, hey, no, you can't do that. And it's very apparent that this dad doesn't understand what's happening with our family. All he sees is one family skipping to the front of the line and getting immediate access to Stitch. And he's like, well, I don't understand what's happening. And he walks away and calls us all POSs. And I felt so horrible for the family in this moment because all this dad is seeing is that we got to skip the line, and it's like you have no idea like everything they've gone through, and that this is like a small like little glimmer in their life to get to skip the line. Like you think they would choose their child's, you have a very healthy child, and it's just they just didn't understand. And so I didn't respond. I was just kind of like, this, they have no idea. They don't know why this family has gotten to skip to the front of the line.
Did the Bert's Big Adventure family hear it?
The Bert's Big, yeah, they did hear it, which is just terrible.
Worse,
yeah.
And I almost hate to focus on the one a-hole because 99% of the people in lines, if they have a problem with it, certainly don't verbalize it if they don't understand it. But for one person, like, where do you come from? You have your own kids also to say that about another family out loud enough in a passive aggressive way where you know they're going to hear it. Who are you?
What bothered me the most about this was I heard about this story the next day from mom in the family, and she told me that she did say to the guy, like, she ended up saying something back to him. And even the way she was relaying the story to me was as if it really didn't bother her, because I was getting so upset, and she was just like, it's like so used to it in a sense. And she had said to the guy, you know, maybe if your child was going through what my child was going through, you'd be in this situation. And she said exactly what her child was going through. And so I thought in that moment, I was like, well, certainly he must have felt horrible and apologized. He said he felt nothing. Didn't even respond to it. And it was just like, I couldn't believe it.
And you don't know, I mean, you can't say anything to somebody that mean that would hurt them, that history hasn't brought them to this point where they're so hurt that that's their response. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, exactly that.
And the second thing is, and I feel like I say this every other year, is that people do not care and they do not pay attention to those that are in wheelchairs.
No.
Couldn't care less, man. I mean, either they're on their phones or they're not looking down or they see the wheelchair and simply don't care if it's a kid or an adult. There is absolutely no patience for people in wheelchairs. It drives me crazy.
As we were walking through the park one day, I had a couple of those instances, and it happens every year. And it's because everybody is the center of their own world. Everybody is the star of their own movie. And people forget to look out for others. We had an instance of a couple of, like, people like to stare as well. As we go through the park. And what I have learned now is if we were standing in line for It's a Small World, and it wasn't a child that was staring, because kids are curious and they stare, and you just say hi or whatever. I always say, hi, this is my friend so-and-so. This is my friend so-and-so. What's your name? And that's what I do in every situation. And it was a grown man. It was a dad. It was an adult that was staring at one of my kids. And one of my kids. And I just looked at him and I'm like, hey, how are you? How are you doing today? And I called him out for it. I'm like,
shake him out of his stare?
Yeah, yes, it did. And then he actually started, instead of just staring at the kid, actually started having a conversation with the child and asking her about her princess outfit.
The staring always gets to me, and what always seems to bother me so much is when I'm pushing one of the kids in the wheelchair and a person will get upset. Like, you can see the physical attitude that they have to walk around the wheelchair. And I'm thinking, like, you have the ability to walk around the wheelchair, and you have an attitude. I don't get it.
Right. Okay. Now, more on a positive, maybe, at the end of this here is Abby was telling us, and we all saw it on the trip, that Abby has she got humbled this weekend, man. She wanted to hang with the kids. There was just one problem. The kids didn't want to hang with her.
Yeah.
She tried over and over and over again.
Yeah, it was pretty embarrassing. And listen, like, that's their prerogative. Like, this is their vacation. I am not the center of attention on this trip, and that is totally fine. It is humbling when a 7-year-old looks at you and is like, don't talk to me. But it's totally fine. It's totally fine. And I was just kind of giving myself a hard time when I was talking about it yesterday. I really hope it didn't come off as like, these kids don't want to pay attention to me. Like, well, who do they think they are?
No, Abby, it did not at all. Listen, we're just there. We were having a good time with it. We were laughing about it. And you took it, man. You took it like a champ. And you, having lived in Florida and have been, if anybody knows the most about Disney, it's freaking Abby.
Sure. We've all had these with kids also. Remember, Georgia here, up until recently, our kid Georgia hated me. Couldn't look at me. She grabbed a mic at one of our events and looked at me and screamed, no!
I forgot about that.
So we've all had one of these. And only recently has she warmed up to me, man.
Oh my God.
At least they just don't like you. They hate it. She hates it.
They're scared of me.
I don't know. They haven't vocalized it yet. We don't know what family group chat is going on. No, I'm just kidding. But anyway, I was just kind of giving myself a hard time yesterday talking about some of the experiences of getting rejected by some of the kids that I was trying to hang out with on the trip. And the Bert's Big Adventure 2024 families that I connected with were so sweet yesterday. I didn't even really connect the dots as to what was happening because I just started noticing that I was getting tagged in some Instagram stories. I was like, oh my God, that's so sweet. They're reminiscing on their trip. Let me repost. Love that. And then I realized, I'm like, oh, this is an organized effort by some of the Bert's Big Adventure families from last year to make me feel better. So many of these families reached out and were like, hey, just wanted to let you know, like, we had a great time with you last year. Our kids still talk about X, Y, and Z. And so I just wanted to give like a verbal thank you, even though I've already been in correspondence with them, to Isaac's family, Grayson's family, Journey's family, and Ivy's family, and everybody else that's reached out. Everybody who's been in my DMs or has tagged me on Instagram. Like, it really meant a lot to me that you went out of your way to make me feel special. Like, I did not need that by any means, but it meant a lot to me nonetheless.
I think you did need it.
We beg to differ.
There's just something.
You absolutely needed it.
Yeah.
The Bert Show.